Hey everyone, and welcome back to AsArt. So today we're going to be taking a look at the very charming and whimsical game, Table of Tales: The Crooked Crown.
Oh, hello there.
This combines the best of tabletop adventuring presented in a digital world, and if you happen to have a VR headset, the immersiveness and unforgettable experience this shifting tabletop game board can present.
I am the master of the table, and you, my friend, are about to embark upon quite the adventure.
As you saw in the very first few seconds of this video, the game starts off with you finding a note from your aunt that you haven't seen in many years. Check out this table and there's something in store for you. In this case, it almost reminds me of something like Jumanji or Princess Bride, where this magical fantasy takes place.
Thomas Turlinger, the apothecary. This one calls herself Nuna. This is Hammer, a violent thug, introducing Horatio Nine Lives, the thrice blessed.
Another thing that really stands out from the get-go is the idea of replayability in this game. You start off with a crew of 4, but in my playthrough, I almost immediately had to whittle down the crew to a party of 3, which in and of itself is going to create a much different adventure when I go back and play the story again. One of the really standout elements of this is the presentation. While you're basically in an attic or something of that sort, the presentation of rain, the shifting board, the cities, and the landscapes going in and out, all of it really makes a truly magical experience. And if you do happen to be playing this in VR, you can also play it in regular desktop monitor mode. You're really going to feel this magical experience of that this game is really living and shifting right in front of me.
They're getting away. 3 problems. And only 2 of you left. Make a choice, quick!
There's also plenty of locations where you have to choose where you want to go and how you want to go about solving the scenario. For instance, you may need to get an item from a particular room. Do you clear out all the enemies there, or do you take off as soon as you have your objective? And if you do, how does that change the landscape and the people that live there after you leave? So there's a lot of consequences to your actions, and again, like a good dungeon master, going through and making these different decisions in multiple playthroughs yields a different experience. The writing's very good. All the narration comes through your talking parrot friend.
This is Hammer, warrior of true conviction and strength. Ah, it's the heroes. Leaving already. That's a shame. May we meet again in equally joyful circumstances, Captain Starling says before excusing himself.
It really creates the sense of a tabletop adventure where you have a dungeon master that's taking you through the experience, playing and acting out the voices, and giving you an immersive experience without having to have a huge voice cast. And in doing so, retains that charm that I think the developers were really going for. So far, you've gotten some quick glimpses at the combat, and it's exactly what you would hope for. Just like a real tabletop game, you can take your time. You're going to play cards that represent the skills for each of your characters. And as you continue on your journey, you'll be able to upgrade your characters and get new cards and abilities to help you along your journey.
Thomas appraises the treasure with a keen eye, weighing his options before scooping several stacks of coins into pouches and leaving half-arch.
Really, the only other game that I have experience with that I could really compare this to is the game Demio, which is also a tabletop type game and supports multiplayer. Table of Tales, on the other hand, is specifically a single player adventure, but the great thing about it is it has a story arc that you get to go through. And if I had to choose between the two, I found myself reaching for this because of the story behind the characters and the story arc and plot that you go through for a super solid single player story adventure. I have to admit that I wasn't quite sure what to expect coming in, but having spent a good amount of time with this game thus far, I find myself hardly able to wait to jump back in and continue my journey with the characters in my party and see how their story in the Table of Tales universe concludes. This game is definitely highly recommended for anybody who enjoys any type of role-playing game and maybe wants that feeling of tabletop nostalgia, but with a sprinkle of technology to really make it stand out.
You have what you came for. Nuna will soon be able to tell you what she learned, assuming you can get off the island.